Turf Talk with Drew Miller.
On this episode of Tiger Turf Talk, we host Kristen, Althouse, Educational Manager for the Sportsfield Management Association. This is such an awesome episode with such an incredible person. Kristen has spent the last 14 years preparing different conferences across the country in so many different ways, one of the most recent ones being a virtual conference that put so many things to the test, and they did such an incredible job of putting everything together to ensure that everything was prepared and good to go for all of the members. We got to talk about this year coming up at Salt Lake City in Utah and how there are so many incredible things coming out with the education that has been selected. Recently actually been sent out to the speakers, and it's going to be awesome. We have the opportunity to be presenting this year as well coming up. It's going to be an awesome opportunity to discuss different things going on in the industry and to learn from everyone out there that's going to be there. We got to dive into everything that's so awesome about the Sportsfield Management Association and to talk about how it's like a family reunion and to discuss her work and prepping and making sure everything's ready to go. And it's just an awesome episode that you do not want to miss. We can't thank Kristen enough for her time. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Tiger Turf Talk. Good afternoon and welcome to the 82nd episode of Tiger Turf Talk. I'm your host, Drew Miller. Today we have on such a special guest. We have Miss Kristen Althouse, the Educational Manager for the Sportsfield Management Association. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, like we were just talking about, running with our heads cut off all the time is always fun. Yeah. Both education based, it's always good. So, I just sort of want to dive into what the preparations have been like for you when it comes to Salt Lake, also coming back off that virtual year, which I'm sure was more chaotic for you than any other show possible because of all this expectations and the different venue in the sense of, hey, everybody has to be on Zoom and this has to all work. What is it like getting back to sort of a normal, and what do you see coming up this year for this year's conference for SFMA?
Yeah, the virtual conference was definitely a challenge, just because we had never done it before. So, the unknown is always tough to prepare for, but, we did it, we adapted, and we had a really successful virtual conference. But I'll tell you what, it was really good to be back in person, in Savannah. And I think all of our attendees were thrilled to be back in person. It was nice to see everybody. So yeah, with planning for Salt Lake City, we're really looking forward to that event. We've never been to Salt Lake City before that I know of, at least not since I've been here. So it'll be a new city. We'll be in person, get to see everybody again. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Sort of to go into the idea of a new city for you, how long you've been doing this? Because I remember way back when I first started in, I think it was 2015 or something was my first conference. It was Denver. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, I don't know what year we were in Denver, but that was our first cold weather location. But it wasn't that cold. Do you remember?
No, it wasn't too bad at all. The problem that I had was that our president for the turf club at Tech, we decided to stay a mile and a half away from the convention center in downtown Denver. And it was like a 30-minute walk in the morning. And I'm like, guys, why are we all the way over here? Like, what are we doing? But no, it was great. But yeah, that was my first one ever. That's crazy to think of.
Okay. So yeah, I have been here, I can't believe it, 14 years. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, time flies. I was just thinking the other day, the time between conferences seems to get shorter and shorter. So Salt Lake will be here before we know it.
Absolutely. So what has it been like for you to sort of see the changes over the years, sort of incorporating new things? Obviously, you guys went through a big jump when it comes to the name and the branding of the whole organization. What have you seen over the years that has sort of solidified in this Utah trip conference this year coming up?
Well, let's see. Yeah, this past year we did the big rebrand. The board of directors just started a new strategic plan, a new 10-year strategic plan, and that is really focused on growth of the association. And one of the focuses in it is diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I know for this conference, we're seeing a really big push for, getting a more diversified educational program. So that means highlighting some of the work that our female members are doing, trying to be more inclusive of, people of different cultures and backgrounds. So we're really, taking strides to go towards that. What else did I think of that we're doing? It just flew out of my head.
Totally fine. But that's incredible. That stuff's incredible. Obviously, over the past few years, you've sort of seen that diversity grow. And the sort of, and I think Nick McKenna did a good job of sort of framing the new brand around that, allowing there to be more of an open concept for field managers versus the sports turf. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on all of that. Now, obviously, as an educational manager for SFMA, there's a long process, and when it comes to you, what is it that your role plays in working with the educational committee and getting sort of everything put together? Like you said, we found out, was it Thursday last week or Friday last week, who was presenting where? Luckily enough, I was selected, which is awesome to hear. Leah's really excited. She actually just texted me the new title. I was like, okay, we'll go with yours. You're in charge. We'll let you pick what we're doing. So, what is that process like when it comes to selecting, sort of collecting all the information that goes into what this year will be?
Yeah, it is truly a year-long process. As soon as one conference is over, we start planning for the next one. So end of January, the call for presentations opens, and that's where anyone can submit a presentation to be considered for the following year's education program. That runs through March, and then the education committee will meet throughout April and May to rank the presentations, talk about the presentations, and put the program together. And then in June, early June, I send out all the notifications to the speakers. And then from June to July, people are agreeing, or, we might have to change some things, or if people decline, then they need to be replaced. So I try and finalize everything by August, because now we need to get our promotional materials out. People need to know what the program is so that they can start making their travel plans. So now the brochure comes out, all of the education descriptions get posted, and then as we get closer and closer, things just start to ramp up. Registration will open in October. And, I need to stay on top of speakers to make sure that they are, I can make their hotel reservations, that they're making their flight reservations, that their rooms on site are secure, that they have all the audio visual stuff, just a lot of organizational things that I like to do to make sure the speakers know exactly where they need to be and what they need to do. So I really try and make it easy on you guys. So you've been through the process. What do you think of it?
No, it's incredible, because I remember the first time that I put something in, it was for the virtual one, and I was like, this could be good, because if I mess up, I'm just recording myself, I'm not gonna put it in the The right live. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. Give me a second. But no, that was a great experience. My older brother has just gotten into like videography and whatnot and doing all these
Nice.
pictures and whatnot. So he was a huge help. And it was weird because like we were interviewing our kids during like the heart of COVID. So it was like mask or off for 5 seconds, answer the question, put them back on. But doing all that, getting to do with Dr. Sander for Virginia Tech it was an awesome opportunity. And then this past year, you made it so incredible for my kids, obviously, coming down and presenting in Savannah. Everything you do makes everything easier on us. And I feel bad because I screw up half the time. And I think you get 55 emails from me about, oh, the contract didn't fill out. My bad. Oh, I didn't do it again. Oops. It was even with the questions. I was like, how's it not sending? Like, how's this? What's going on? I'm like, it's always with Kristen.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean
No.
to. No, but you make
They're
everything
easy
so easy on
questions.
everybody. So I
Okay,
definitely
good.
appreciate it. And the proposal is not hard to do, which is awesome. I've done a couple different conferences, a couple different places. They expect to have like the whole thing before they actually like say, yes, you're doing it. It's kind of like, oh, well, I kind of don't want to put all this time and effort if I'm not going to get it, in the sense of like
Right.
going and doing it. So it's definitely a lot easier. And like now, like you said, sending it out in June, we can start putting stuff together. With the summer coming up for me, I'm obviously a teacher in high school. We're taking care of our fields and everything, but I can take the time to sit down and really focus on putting something together, while Leah is full-fledged ahead in minor league baseball on the other side of the country, and she can add her stuff in towards the time frame of when we're getting ready for the winter, I guess. But the time frame is very helpful as well to sort of get everything together and be able to send it to you in enough time. So all of us greatly appreciate the opportunity and the help you give us, for sure. With that, what has been your experiences working with sort of the professionals like us to get things ready? Has there been any crazy times where it's like last minute, hey, it's 2 days to the event, can you get me the PowerPoint slides? I need to
Um, people are really good. The most trouble I have is getting people to read things. You mentioned about last minute. I'm trying to think, like, we always run into things, last minute things every year. Like this past year was the weather in the Northeast. It was,
that's fun.
right. So every year it's like, okay, is the weather going to cooperate? Am I going to get speakers in, cold temperature locations? Are they going to be able to get here? How am I going to replace them? So that's always an issue, but we always have like our members are awesome, because I always have somebody that's like, if someone cancels on you, I have a presentation along, I'll take their place. So that's always such a relief. As far as getting presentations to me, I understand that, speakers might be working on it the night before, but they're always, really good about bringing their updated presentation the day of and having it and then sending it to me. So, that they're always really good with that. As far as making travel plans, that's just me constantly poking, hey, you haven't done this yet. How about you do this?
Just fill it out for me. Just little 3 numbers. Come on, let's do it.
Oh, this was a long time ago. I was really persistent with emails, and I always send out a speaker evaluation after the conference and say, how was your experience? What would you change? And somebody wrote, stop sending so many emails. So I've cut back on that a little bit.
You don't send too many. It's fine.
Well, yeah.
So you sort of mentioned it in there, and I'm curious because, again, you've been with the organization for 14 years, and it's always really cool to hear from different people on their viewpoint. And I'm sorry it's not one of the questions and just spring it on you. what has it been like for you to sort of see the people of the sports field industry grow, and sort of what has it been like your experience getting to know this industry from your lens? Again, putting together these conferences that we all hold dear to our heart, and the times that we get to spend with people and the educational opportunities there are for everyone. What has it been like for you to sort of see our industry grow?
Um, it's really rewarding, and like I'm so proud of the people in this industry, what they do every day and the hours they work and the pride that they take in their work. Like it's just that that to me is really rewarding. And then, I get to go to the conference and see people that have overcome these challenges and have, in spite of it, have such good attitudes and, the camaraderie between people. I know in other industries that, people can tend to be, um, they don't want to share things like, oh, I do things a certain way and I don't want people to know how I do it because it's my way and it's special. I've never run into that with our members. Like everybody is just so happy to, see each other and say, hey, this worked for me. Why don't you try it? Or, oh, how can we tweak this? So, I, that's really fun to see. People just have such good attitudes and, really be positive. But yeah, as far as seeing people grow, like it's funny because people will say to me how they did the student challenge in 2012 or something, and now they're a sports field manager, and it's cool to see that because I know at that point I was there helping with the student challenge, and that's a fond memory for them, and now they're working. And so yeah, I've definitely seen people grow and improve and share their experiences, so it's cool to see that.
It's the student challenge has always been an interesting one for me. It was I remember our first one in Denver. We got in this argument. You guys had a full irrigation system hands-on like setup, and we were like, no, it's like this, no, it's like that. It's like, I promise it's down like this. And I forget who graded them, but they came out and they said, I have never seen so many random things put together. And I was like, oh no, don't tell me it was ours. Like,
You know what? I believe that was the first year that we had the hands-on section in the student challenge. And we were, oh my gosh, that is my favorite conference memory by far, because you guys got in there and you were like, what is this box of stuff?
yeah.
And that was awesome. Yeah, Hunter did that for us, put those boxes together. And yeah, it's funny. Tell me how it was for you guys. Were you surprised? Were you
So
afraid?
my first like student challenge, I had transferred to Virginia Tech my sophomore year, and I had like no experience in the industry at all. So I was on the grounds crew for 2 months before I like was put in front of this box of things that I did not know. And I'm like, all right, there's glue, there's tubes. Let's put the tubes that fit in there, and then we're gonna do this, and then screw on the head. That's all you're getting. And then they're like, well, let's stand the pipe up like this, the elbows up in the air. I was like, why do we need to stand them up if the heads come out of the ground? They're like, no, it's not gonna work. So that was ours. Ours was like standing up like 3 feet, and the head was like up here. I'm like, guys, this looks stupid. Like, what are we doing? Um, the next one was San Diego, I think. I forget what the hands-on portion of it was. It was like it was either an irrigation box, which I think the box happened twice when I was taking the exams, and those were good. we all had the one person that was like, oh, I got it. You guys go ahead. And I was like, yeah, okay. Sounds good. And then we had in Orlando, we had the reel mower, and we had to identify all the parts of the reel mower, which was cool.
Yeah.
It was funny because like somebody's like, get in underneath there. I'm like, why do we need to get underneath there if we know what this is? They're like, just get in there and make sure. I'm like, my head doesn't fit underneath it. What are we doing? So like you had the curtains covering it and everything, and we're just trying to like dig in underneath. We're like, all right, I can't see. Okay, we're good. All you see is like these feet sticking out from under the curtain. Everybody's like taking their exam. Like, what is this guy doing? So, no, I mean, the student challenge was always a highlight for us. And the way you guys do it is incredible. I love how you guys make everything. If you compete, you're going to be doing, you're going to get the conference pretty much for free, but you're going to be expected to, again, take your time and be helpful to the organization, whether that's, I think it's sell tickets at a raffle ticket at the welcome reception or something along the lines of that. Which I'm not gonna lie, half the people I know didn't do it. So I was there. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here to help. I do remember that it was in San Diego, and I went to my boss. I was like, buy 10 of these. He's like, all right, here you go. I'm like, all right, I'm done. So, but again, the conferences are just so much fun, and there are so many good memories from them, whether it's just people being stupid, seeing your old friends for the first time in a while, to some incredible talks. Some of the talks that I remember most were Dale Getz from the Toro Company gave his life story, which was really cool. Seeing just sort of what he went through at Notre Dame to all the different things that he had in the industry to get to this point where he's retiring. To Luke Yoder, where he talked about his whole field conversion in San Diego after just doing it in Pittsburgh. Like, just being able to see guys' experiences is just something that really is just incredible to see. Down in Savannah, there was a lot of I forget who I was talking to. I think it was actually Leah on the podcast when we were in Savannah. I was talking about how like there were things that were just like going straight over my head. It was like Evan Moscati's talk on clay and his new innovative thing that he's coming up with. I'm like, Evan, everyone knows you're a genius, but what are you talking about? I was like, I'm trying to understand. He's like, well, the viscosity of this, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, all right, Evan, yep, okay. I feel like I'm back in solar fertility. I can't remember anything that's being said. And then Dr. Chase Straw with his, I am, it's awesome what he's doing with his sensor work, and not the interaction of the athlete and its body, but the interaction of the field and the playability. You know, I think that's going to be revolutionary is what I'm looking for when it comes to just the overall like growth of what we're doing. You know, I think that it's been a long time coming for people in like the MLB to have a better understanding of what you're doing to cause certain ball rolls, what you're doing. And again, all of those guys know exactly what to do, but it's not like in a handbook. You know what I mean? When I worked for Bill Deacon, he was like the mastermind of dirt. Like, it was insane what he did. Just like, again, he was the boss. So he had so much in the front office that he had to do just to make sure everything's ready. But he'd come out and just watch him do his work. It's just like, I was always like, what do you do with this? What do you do with that? How does this happen? I'm like just trying to absorb as much as I can. But being more, and I don't want to say scientific, but data driven, sort of in that way, like the NFL is with their stuff. Just having an understanding of what needs to be at what level, so that again, it's just growing and doing more. And if Evan comes up with that infield mix that's gonna change the world for everybody, I'm gonna like, I know that guy. It's like I talked to him before he started at Penn State doing this. I'm just saying. But no, and that's what's great about the conference and everything that goes into it, you know. I'm babbling. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm not much of a talker, so you're lucky you got me on here.
I appreciate it. I do. You know, I do. You talked about a little bit. You're going for more diversity in the industry towards this conference and having more people representing the different groups. What are some of the other focuses of the Salt Lake conference coming up that you guys have really sort of articulated in your decisions for the education and other parts?
What do you mean?
In this, you're focusing on things like diversity. Is there anything else that you're focusing on with like the selections of everything that you're doing? If that makes
Yes.
sense. Sorry.
Yes. Yes. No, that's okay.
Just what is the focus of the show is sort of what I'm saying. Cause you mentioned
Like what?
diversity, but I was
Yeah.
like, is there anything else you're focusing on when it comes to picking and choosing the education you guys have?
Yeah, definitely. We don't have a theme yet. But yeah, we definitely have, the diversity component. We also, last year during the general session, we had the focus on the labor shortage, and we're addressing that again. We thought it was important to continue since, everybody, that's what we're hearing about now. We need workers, there aren't enough people in the industry. There aren't enough people entering the industry. So we do have a focus on technology and like new research in that technology. So robotic mowers and how that can help with the labor shortage. So definitely that stuff. We always have to be heavy on our turf grass management stuff to make sure that people are staying current with all of the research and even the basics to keep it fresh in our minds. We forget year to year about basic turf grass management. And then also I know what I wanted to say earlier, making sure that the professional development of our sports field managers, so more of soft skills like leadership and communication and work-life balance, and so making sure that people are getting those types of things so that they can elevate themselves in their position.
Awesome content for a lot of different groups and awesome to hear. Something that it's funny because I thought about this the other day, and obviously with the labor of love, it was awesome to be a part of that at the conference and everything. Labor shortage is not just like our industry. It is crazy to see. You can't like discuss with someone in anything and say that they're not short on labor. And I'm just sitting here like, where is everyone? You know what I mean? Like we have grown in population over the past 5 years. Like it's not, and I understand COVID and everything, but like, where is everybody? You know?
Right.
So, and
what are they doing? Why aren't they working?
I was like, why haven't we found jobs? Like, what are we talking about here? So that's what my sort of thought process is lately, is like, how do we find them? It's not even just like, obviously, like with programs like ours being developed across the country is awesome and great and a new way to get people to see it, like, and have the opportunity to be a part of it. But like, how do we reach those that don't do anything? It's the nicest way to say something, like it astonishes me how many people are like, oh, I lost a job, didn't do this, didn't do. It's like, well, then get off your butt and get back out there and find something. Like,
I know.
you go within a square mile of where you live, there are like 10 different things that you can see people are doing on a daily basis around you that you can go get a job in without any like big certification, education, or anything like that. I'm like, go do it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Our industry is really easy to get into.
100%.
And it's an exciting industry. At least it always was for me. I know maybe some people don't like the outdoors, but it's I think there's so much you can get so much out of seeing like the immediate result from what we do every day. You do a mowing pattern and you immediately see it. And I would think that you'd feel proud about that. And that would, then you take pride in your work. Then you want to come back and you want to do it again. And, like you don't need a degree to get into this, to just join a crew and learn on the job. We haven't solved that yet, but I think we're getting close.
And I think there are things that you guys are doing that are huge. We discussed the other day about the sports field specialist designation. Could you sort of discuss some of the different things that you have done over the years? I mean, the certified sports field manager designation has been the standard, the creme de la creme, if that's the right term for it. But it is our industry's you are the guy and type sort of thing, or woman. Sorry for those that are listening. Boss, you are the boss. How about that? What has it been like for you, again, sort of pushing the envelope on things that, again, are bringing more people certifications that are going to provide them those opportunities without those college degrees, maybe leading to a 2-year degree at Penn State or Virginia Tech or something like that. But I have a student. He just graduated. He just finished his sports field specialist thing. Sorry to say thing, but designation. With the opportunity to sort of develop a whole sort of department added onto a pesticide applicators license company that does a lot of things with animals, but also is looking to do landscape and sports fields and things like that in the community. But having that has allowed him to sort of take on that development of that new department in that business. So what has it been like for you to sort of develop those things? Again, sorry for babbling about this, but just sort of give it background to, again, the impact it's having on people in this industry.
Yeah. So let's see. So we have the Certified Sports Field Manager, the CSFM program. I actually don't do anything with that. That's one of my coworkers, Leah Craig. She leads that program. And like you said, it is the creme de la creme. We also have the sports field management certificate, and that's just an online self-paced introductory course that anyone can take, and they get a certificate of completion to show that they've completed it. And like I said, that's just really introductory foundational knowledge to introduce them to turfgrass science and kind of what the industry is all about. That was an offshoot of a high school curriculum that I wrote. And that high school curriculum is for secondary ag programs. It kind of fits within a plant science curriculum. And again, it's turfgrass science focused. It introduces them to the plants, identification, adaptations. It introduces them to soils that are specific to caring for turfgrass. And then it gets into all of the cultural practices, the mowing, the fertility, irrigation, aeration, pest control. So that curriculum, the classroom curriculum, is definitely more in-depth than the online course, but that was tailored for teachers. The online course is more for the individual student, or maybe a sports field crew member that wants to get a little bit more background knowledge. So we have those things, and then we also we're trying to get into competitive events. So we have the student challenge, then we have the career development events that we're trying to do by state with FFA, and that's just high school students. They get introduced to turfgrass, and then they compete in this event about turfgrass topics. So 2 weeks ago, we had the first in-person one in Pennsylvania, and they did a multiple choice test. They did some practicums where they had to identify disease, insects, turf grasses. They looked at a fertilizer label, and then, a couple other things. And then the big culminating event was a site evaluation, and I got them up onto Penn State where the blue band practices, and they had to look at the soil and figure out what was going on. So that was pretty cool. But so we have those events to get students interested, and then we're also working with ICEV to get a national curriculum and an industry certification going. So this national curriculum, it'll be online, available to ag teachers, and you can probably speak better about ICEV than I can, but that curriculum is available for teachers. And then SFMA will have this industry certification that students can take, and they get certified, and employers can see that and know that they have a background in this, and can come into the job and at least know a little bit about what they're doing, and then get that hands-on experience on the job to support what they learned in the classroom. I think I hit most, if not all of what we're doing.
I'm pretty sure you got all of them, unless you got one up your sleeve,
I mean, it's been a slow process. If that was all I was doing, it might move a little bit faster, but
you have all the chaos.
Right. I have other responsibilities, but like the
just
people
just a couple.
But you've been helping. Mark Moran's been helping. I've got buy-in from other states, with developing curriculum, and it's starting to catch on. So that's really encouraging, because when we started this, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, maybe it's longer now, I lose track of time, but when we started this, it seemed like, insurmountable, and, people are getting on board now, and it's moving more quickly. So I hope, and I think it will. I think we'll make a lot of progress in the next couple of years.
Absolutely. I think it was about 7 years, because it might have been 6. It was the year before I started teaching. I remember the curriculum came out. So, yeah, it's been a drastic growth. It's probably the best way to say it. And I've talked to different groups when it comes to just getting started. I mean, there's been multiple phone calls with multiple different school districts, whether it's people or school board members. I know Ohio's got a few different schools. One is, it's really cool. They're really looking at whether or not it's better to invest in developing a program like ours, or just put artificial turf in, and I'm just like, if you can take that 1.6 million and put it into a classroom, you're going to have a phenomenal program with kids that are going to take care of your facility to make it that much better than the $1.6 million artificial field, so definitely. Things like that. I think I've talked to, it's got to be like 20 different states I've talked to, different people. Some call me, some are just emails, some are just, I'm available now, and then they don't call, or what that it's way more than that. I've talked to over 30 people when it comes to programs, and I've seen probably like 7 actually start up, which is great. And just being able to get the word out and be a part of it has been really cool. And to see the programs really blossom, we presented with South Forsyth down in Savannah in our presentation. It was really cool just to discuss, I remember when I first started, it was, I was sitting there, and I actually visited with Mark down in at Atlee High School before I started. And I look around, I'm like, geez, this is crazy. I've got nothing, and I'm sitting there.
How much you've grown.
Yeah. And I started out with literally a push mower, an Amish push mower, where it wasn't like gas powered,
Nice.
and a weed eater. I didn't have much past that. I think we had a tractor, but that was the tractor doesn't hold the weight of the bucket, so it flips. So I don't really count it as a safe tractor. So it barely gets used. Um, but other than that, I mean, just by word of mouth and the work of the kids, it's been something that has grown to, like you said, where we're at today. It's been phenomenal, and like aspirations to get even bigger, which is great. And being able to have backing of people like you and industry professionals that are looking to again grow. It's pretty funny. The part that's gotten somewhat, I wouldn't say annoying, but hard, is that with like the success of our kids and like the opportunities they have in our community when it comes to like summer internships, jobs and whatnot, they're like, we need kids. I need kids. Where are they at? I'm like, I've already got like 37 out. I can't, they don't want to work. I'm sorry. There's already, everyone's taken. I don't have that many kids. I'm sorry. So it's really great to see again, people taking a vested interest in our students and having them have the opportunity to go to schools. Got another 5 going down to Tech next year. It's 4 graduated and 3 are going on. Well, 5 graduated, 4 are going on to 4-year degree in turf. And it's just, it's great to see again, that number keep growing. But
Definitely.
yeah, I do see a big uptick in a lot of things, hopefully, when it comes to people across the country, because the programs like Ashwood Down with Chuck Cross, he's done a phenomenal job of just growing in 1 year, like seeing him sort of take, and I think we've talked about this before, is a lot of these programs that are coming up are like baseball coaches, where they had the sort of experience of being a sports field manager through the fact they have to manage their fields, to again, which is, and I think you can attest to this, half of our industry is parks and rec, and people that are managing like little league fields and whatnot are like, these guys can show these kids again through their work and being able to grow their knowledge as well as their kids' knowledge. It's really great to see. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the next few years have in store for everyone, Sorry, I'm babbling. I'm going to stop again.
No, it's fine.
If you were to tell the members anything about this year coming up, maybe exciting, different, something about the conference in Salt Lake that is something to look forward to, what would that be?
Oh my. That's a tough one because we don't quite have things finalized just yet. It's a cold weather location, so I know there's going to be some changes on the front end with activities because we can't golf. The seminar on wheels, I don't know what the weather will be like. We'll probably do some indoor facilities. But
can we make a suggestion of curling instead of golfing? I think that would be funny to see people try and curl. I will not actually curl. I will be there to watch.
That would be cool. I've also heard, this was the first I heard of it, broom ball.
I've got a feeling a lot of people are going to come out of that with broken legs, but that's just me. And I'm great. Yeah. I'm fine with being a spectator, but I think that'd be great.
I am on board with broom ball. I will be on the ice and just, I'm ready. So if that's an event, I'm there.
Let's do it.
But I think, and I can't say just what they are yet. But I'm really excited about what we're planning for our general session and our keynote. And I think both of those will be really beneficial to our attendees. I think they'll be exciting. So I'm looking forward to the general session and the keynote. And then, our education session speakers are always rock stars. So the education's always really good. And the fact that we record everything now, nobody has to miss out on anything. But I mean, one of the reasons everybody likes to go is they call it a family reunion. So we'll all get to see each other and be together and catch up from the previous years. So, that's always exciting.
Most definitely. Most definitely. We sort of talked about it a little bit with this, but what are some future aspirations for the organization moving forward, or any big projects that are coming down the pipeline? Obviously, you guys have had 10 different things happen in the past 3 years when it comes to rebranding the sports field designations and whatnot. Is there anything new outside of the ICEV stuff that we're looking at in the next couple of years?
Well, like I said, we just started the strategic plan. So, future, they're looking at growth, growth in membership, with the labor shortage and focusing on the future of the industry. So, yeah, we definitely covered that, trying to get more people interested. We talked about ICEV. Yeah, it's mainly, I just, and also I covered this too, professional growth for our members, making sure that they have the right education so that they are being recognized in their jobs, getting a seat at the table, making sure that they're being compensated for their work, making sure that they have the skills they need to advocate for themselves. So, yeah, I'm really trying to push professional development, and this will come out in the July news online, but, something as simple as how to use social media to their benefit. So we'll have a webinar in July about how to use social media, what not to do, how to promote yourself. So, little things like that to just advocate the profession and themselves. So
Sounds like our presentation for Salt Lake.
oh, are you that okay?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. So ours is what did she just text me? She texted me um sports field manager. That's a thing. That's the title for it. But it's talking about just overall getting your sort of brand out there as alongside the SFMA, being able to have signage in different places, putting stuff out on social media, reaching out to local high schools, whether it's a video or like doing a virtual field trip or even doing a real field trip. Different things like that where you can have an impact. This was awesome. And I don't know who the teacher is, but I've tried reaching out because he had reached out originally, said, "Hey, can we talk about opportunities during the school year? Like when we're inside for teaching." I was like, "Yeah, just let me know." And something came up for our Zoom and then I never got a response or whatnot, but it'd be great to talk to him. But they did a field trip to the minor league field. I forget what it's called, but they're the Trash Pandas. And what they did is they were the grounds crew for the day, and they let them do hands-on stuff where the kids were doing the chalk for the boxes, they were mowing the outfield pattern, they were doing all these things. And it's things like that that really can have a lasting impact in a kid's life. I'm not saying every single one of their students that was there is like, "Oh, I'm going to do this. This is going to be great." But like one or two could have that moment, where we bring in the one or two to the industry that are going to shape what's going to happen for the next 50 years, excuse me. But at the same time, everyone else that was there has a newfound appreciation for sports field management. They're going to understand that later on in life, like we're not just going to a major league ballpark. The grounds crew has set the stage. Everything is ready to go because the people out there who are watering the field have been here all day, making sure and ensuring the safety of the players. And that's what I think these programs are really going to do wonders for our industry. It's not just the uptick in students. It's not just the uptick in labor, but it's also the uptick in overall image. And, that's sort of what we're trying to hint at, whether that's like working with a professional athlete somehow, which again, I have no way of doing. But being able to do things, this might be out by that time, but I just finished. So I'm heading up to New Hampshire in like 2 days for a wedding. But I've been talking to Ryan Bjorn up in with the Patriots, and I'm gonna visit him. We're gonna do a podcast on site on Friday, so it's gonna be really cool to be able to sort of be on site and have those things to talk about. But being able to show that to my kids, and the other one that I hope he doesn't get mad for me mentioning it, but Alan up in Green Bay, we were recording a podcast, and I was like, he was like, "Hey, I really don't want this to be." I was like, "Oh no, it's perfect. It's for the kids, And his is probably one of the best we've ever recorded when it comes to like what he does and how he literally like it's a new level of what a sports field manager has to do and has to like face head on when it comes to Mother Nature, and what is pretty much impossible, he makes possible for like, again, Lambeau Field in January, negative 30 degrees, with one of the safest fields in the northern part of the United States when it comes to playability for players, those are the things that we're going to sort of try and hint at in the sense of our presentation. Do I know how I'm doing that right now? No, I don't, but we will figure it out.
No, yeah, you're right. People are doing incredible things, and just exposing, like you said, whether they go into it or not, exposing people to what it is that we do later in life. Their kid is playing on, a baseball field, and it has, it's not safe, and they're like, we need to fix that. I did that one time. I know a little bit to, hopefully at least make it safe, but it's not your average Joe that's like, it's just another yard, I'll just mow it. Like they realize more goes into it.
Yeah, and that's I don't know if you've seen any of her TikToks or anything, but Leah does a really good job of sort of indicating not the grind, but the different aspects that go into it. One of the ones she did was like a countdown to opening day, and it was like 30 days out, and she was putting chemicals out. She was explaining things. She was showing different things that we're doing, aerating, irrigation, stuff like that, where like no one sees any of that when they show up to the ballpark. But she talked about how like she's gained game day staff from her TikTok. So things like that, where like we can do little things that sound so stupid. And I promise you, I understand that, because I'm terrible at TikTok and I beg my kids to do them, but they very rarely do. And it's just bad. Okay. But I'm trying to, again, get people to understand that like it really doesn't take too much time to take a moment, take a little video, put a couple things together, put it out. Maybe you'll go viral and you make $1 million off it, and then you can just promote us. Like that's the goal for you. That's what that should be the title of our presentation. But the overall need to sort of get out of our comfort zones and understand that we can do more to ensure that moving forward, A, we have more people involved in our industry. B, these are the different opportunities that can come to make the big changes that we all are looking for. Pay, hours, things like that, where like people understand that this is a necessity. I forget who it was. It might have been Matt Parrott. When I was talking to him, he said that COVID hit and we were the only ones in the entire ballpark, anytime during COVID. During the heart of it, during when there were ups and downs, it was always the groundskeeper that was there, because It is the most essential part of the game that the field's prepared. It's one
Right.
of the only jobs that requires an associate or bachelor's degree, like compared to the others. Like it's kind of like, how is it we're not equating the level of understanding that the role of the sports field manager plays to the money that they're paid, you know? Um, I think I mentioned it in the it's it's not in my mind. The what was the labor of love? The first the I'm going crazy.
Are you asking the
General
speaker
session.
name?
The general
The
session.
general session.
I think I
Yes.
said this. I said how Travis Hogan is the first line of defense for the $500 million investment in the quarterback. Like, you got to understand that that's a factual statement, and there needs to be sort of an understanding, if not like again a pay raise for him. You know, like what's 1% of $500 million? It's still more than he's making. You know, like it's just taking things like that and putting it in perspective. And I forget who I was talking to the other day, but like I'm not trying to like undermine other people in the organization or anything like that. Like the thing that the groundskeepers see the most is like all the levels of what takes to be again an organization, the cleaning crews, the front office staff, the interns, the game day workers for just like ball boys. Like it's things like that that people don't see all the components like the groundskeeper will see in again, including their jobs, you know. Um I mean, I think the water boy makes $50,000 on an NFL team. I'm like, that requires nothing. Like, what are we doing? Things like that, where we can sort of enhance our work and show people that what we're doing does make a difference and does have an impact. And it's been great to be able to talk to people in like in a setting like this about what they're doing, how they're doing it, how they're creating more opportunities, um, and seeing more than what they just post on social media. I'm sort of like, hey, you should get some of this out there. You know, people will love it. You know, people will eat it up. So things like that. That again, I'm gonna stop babbling, but that we can do as an industry is what we're hoping to sort of present in Utah. So I'm excited. I think she's excited. She might hate me, but she said
Oh,
yes. So um, she said
oh,
yes to presenting. That was the
we're
first thing that I got on the phone call. She was like, look at what you made me do. I'm like,
oh,
I didn't do anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I asked 5 times to make sure this wasn't the way it was going to go. Um, uh, we sort of wrap up on these last questions because they're really something. It's just something cool to hear from different perspectives from different individuals in this industry. Um, if there was one thing that you wish you knew going into the SFMA 14 years ago, what would that one thing be and why?
oh
Sorry,
my.
that should have been written on the paper. I apologize.
One thing that I wish I knew. Hmm. That's a tough one. Um,
Could be like something about the organization, something about how to operate the conferences. Could be yeah, I should never talk to this guy Drew Miller, he's kind of annoying. Things
oh
like
no.
that, you know.
Boy, it's really tough. Things I wish I would have known. I mean, STMA and now SFMA has been really good to me. I guess when I hear that question, it makes me think about should there be negative things, because I don't have negative things to say. Um, I've had a lot of freedom in my job to develop the conference education program and um, take ownership of it, and I'm really proud of that. And um, the student challenge, like I love doing that. That's so much fun. I know I'm not answering your question.
No, this is good. This is
But
why I'm always curious, because sometimes it is just hard to think of anything. Like,
yeah,
it's always good to hear the different viewpoints on it.
and the people that I've met and work with, like I really enjoy working with the speakers and getting to know them and knowing that like I made their experience at the conference good so that they want to come back. Like that means a lot to me. Same with the student challenge, that the students had a good time and they want to come back and they're excited about the industry. So that's really what I enjoy doing. Like I said, I know I didn't answer your question.
No, that's totally fine.
I
And again, I should have written the question down. I apologize. I usually just assume I wrote it down, and then I was like, oh, it's not on here. But I thought I'd ask anyways,
Yeah, maybe I did not expect to be here 14 years. Because
that's awesome to hear. That means you like us, That's
yeah,
a good thing, right?
I expected to, be here for a couple of years and then try and get into university extension, cooperative extension, and I'm still here. So I like you guys.
we're okay, people. That's always good to hear. The last question we always ask, and again, hopefully it's a little bit easier. But what are some of the best words of advice you could give to, again, those younger people that you're working with in the student challenge, kids like mine that you met, for, again, just moving forward in this industry that you sort of, again, learned in your time from the people, from the speakers, from all the different people in this industry. What are the best words of advice you could give them?
Oh yeah, that one's easy. Just to be curious and to get involved as much as they can, and never be afraid to ask someone something or approach someone. Like the people that I've met working here are so friendly, and there's always a number of people that I know I can call if I need something or have a question. Like the support in this industry it's great. But this past year, one way to sum this up is this past year, someone told me that that there was a man standing alone at one of our receptions, and one of our past presidents went up to him and said, "Nobody stands alone." And that's like this association makes me want to be a better person, and it's people like that make me want to be that way. We want to include you, we want you to feel welcome, we want you to be part of our industry. So for people entering it, don't be afraid to go up to people and get involved and ask questions, and we're here to help, we're here to support, and we want to help you be better people and better field managers.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time today. And I'm sorry again for all the confusion and craziness on my end, but it has been awesome getting to talk to you and being able to discuss everything that's going on with the association and everything. But again, I can't thank you enough for your time.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.